What's going on, everyone? Today we are taking a look at a new bike from Haoqi. This is the Haoqi Squirrel. Kind of a weird name, but they have another bike called the Eagle, another bike called the Cheetah, and this is their smallest bike, which is a small foldable bike, and it's affordable. So I guess that's why it's called the Squirrel. So I guess they like using animal names, so I guess in that sense it makes sense. So going across some of the specs, this bike weighs 58.7 pounds. For a fat tire e-bike, this is definitely one of the lightest ones I've ever reviewed. Most e-bikes are somewhere around 63, 64 pounds. Then when you get into fat tire e-bikes, they can go up to 75, 85. I even have a bike that's like 90 pounds. So this one's a very light e-bike, especially for a fat tire e-bike. So that's good to see. It is a foldable bike. So right here you have this hinge, you can fold it over. These bars also fold down. Then you have an adjustable bars there as well. Taking a look at the tires, we have 20x4 fat tires. These are Innova tires. Definitely very nice looking tires. Love the tan walls. If this bike just had regular black tires, it might have looked kind of plain. I mean, still a very nice looking bike, but black tires would have made it look ordinary. With these tires, it definitely makes the bike pop out, stand out a lot more. Makes it look a little more premium and eye-catching. Coming up to the bars, we have a Shimano 7-speed shifter. I've said it many times in many videos. I hate the way this thing looks. It just looks old and clunky, and I wish bikes would stop using it. But performance-wise, it's no problem at all, and it shifts and does what it's supposed to. But just from a cosmetic standpoint, I really don't like it. Coming to the other side of the bars, you have this little rinky-dinky bell here. Not really a fan of that, but I guess it's better than nothing. You have a nice little color screen here. It is small, and it's more of a basic look, but more importantly, it's very legible. A little while ago, it was sunny and the sun was shining on it, and it was still very easy to read. You have 5 pedal assist speeds on this bike. Then you have a few different things on there. Like I said, small screen, but no issues there. Coming to the front, you do have a built-in headlight here, but in the back, you do not have a tail light. Instead, you only have this little reflector here, so you'll have to buy your own tail light and throw that on there if that's something you want. As I said earlier, this is a foldable bike, so you do get these foldable pedals as well, which makes it a little more compact and easier to store. And then you have this little kickstand here, which makes it easier to prop up when you fold it as well. I've had some foldable e-bikes that didn't have this, which doesn't make sense because when you fold it up, it's just difficult to fold up. But with this, when you fold it up, you can just prop it on that, and it makes it easy to stand on its own. So when you purchase this bike, it does include by default fenders and a rear rack as well. I don't know the max load capacity on this rear rack. It doesn't say on the website, and I can't see it printed on the frame anywhere either, but it looks like a good, nice and beefy rack, so I would assume it should hold 50 pounds, no problem, maybe even more, I don't know. Then lastly, coming up to the front, you have very good wire management here. They have this nice and wrapped, and then they get wrapped all the way down as well, so that's very good to see. All right, well, that all wraps up most of the specs. I think I forgot to mention it, but this is a 48-volt bike, so you got a 48-volt, 500-watt motor on here. Not the highest motor, but I think for most people, 500 watts is a good amount. It's a good balance of power, not too slow, not too fast. So for most people, I think 500 watts is a good starter bike. But yeah, let's go ahead and take this bike out for a ride and see how it performs. Oh man, what a day I am having. So I just got back from filming like a 20-minute review on this bike. Rolled it all over the city, went to the bike path. I get back to look at the footage right now, and it turns out my camera was in time-lapse mode. So all I have is this video of me just riding around town very quickly. Instead of being a 20-minute video, it's like a 2-minute video or a minute video with no sound. So now I got to review this bike all over again. But I guess at least I just got home, so everything's still fresh in my mind. So starting back over, I definitely like the build quality of this bike. It's a very well-built bike. Some of these bikes that I've reviewed have an adjustable stem like this, but the stem isn't very stable. It kind of has a little play down here at the bar. But this one is definitely very tight. I could strong arm it, try to move it around, and it doesn't have any issues at all. Just nice and stable, so that's good to see. This bike does have cruise control. You just hold down the throttle for a few seconds, and eventually it'll lock in at your speed. And the throttle is also linked to the pedal assist speed as well. So right now I'm on pedal assist 1. I'm holding down the throttle full throttle, and as you can see, I'm only getting about 8-9 miles per hour. Typically I don't like this if a bike doesn't have cruise control, but as long as the bike has cruise control, it's a feature that I like, because then you can just hold it down full throttle and they'll lock it in at the pedal assist speed, and once you let go, you'll be locked in at that speed and you don't have to worry about it. When the speed is like full unlocked on any speed and you have cruise control, you kind of got to feather it and hold it at a very specific spot to get the speed you want. So it's a little harder, but this one you could just lock it in depending on the pedal assist, which I find a lot easier. Brakes on this bike are mechanical, but definitely a very, very nice mechanical brake. As you see right now, I skidded the back tire, no problem at all. It actually feels a lot better right now. I've been riding 5 miles. I guess I went 5 miles with the review already. And I guess I broke them in some, because right now it stopped a whole lot better. And I could easily skid that back tire. So if you ever get in an emergency situation, this bike is not going to be a problem to stop you. So mechanical brakes, but one of the better kind of mechanical brakes out there. One thing I like about this bike is its torque. It's a very torquey bike, from starting at 0 all the way up to it's about 15. That's a good amount of torque that kind of pushes you forward. It doesn't have a lot of top end speed. The top speed I was able to get on this bike was about 23 miles per hour, and I had to hold on to it for quite some time to get there. So it's not the quickest bike. Well, let's go ahead and try it again. You see right now about 21, that's when it starts to feather off and kind of struggle to climb up more. But if you hold it for a while and you have a situation where all things are perfect and not much wind resistance, I was able to get it up to 23. My tires right now are on the lower side of being inflated. So I think if I pump them all the way closer to the max, I should be able to get a little more top end speed. But as is, it's definitely a very fun bike. I like the torque on it. Some of these bikes have not much torque, but more top end speed. But personally, I prefer to have more torque and less top end speed, because I like that rush of being able to just pull that throttle and kind of feel yourself get pushed forward. Everybody likes a little something different. A lot of people like to go a little quicker and they don't really care about the torque, but personally, I like having the torque a lot more. What else? Pedal resistance isn't too bad. It's nice and connected up to about 21 miles per hour, I want to say. Then after that, you start losing traction. It doesn't lose complete traction, like you're not completely ghost pedaling, but it's just not as forceful. It's not the best gearing, not the worst. I've had some bikes where you go up to like 14 miles per hour and you're just riding nothing, which was horrible. But this one all the way up to 20 is still nice and connected, which is about average for most e-bikes. I think I had one bike that was connected up to like 26 or 27, and after that I fell off. But for most e-bikes around 20, 21, that's when it's gonna start to head into ghost pedaling territory. But even on this one at that 21, 22, not ghost pedaling, so not bad with the pedals either. And I'm real glad they went with these tires on this bike, because design wise, really nothing special. I mean, it's not bad looking, but I think the tires really set it off to make it look a whole lot better. I'm a big fan of like gum tires and white wall tires. I think they just add a lot more character to the bike. So for the fact that these bikes come with this bike on default, definitely a good move for the company, because this makes this look a little more of a premium bike. I think right now this bike is $1,000, might even be $900, I'm not sure. But a lot of bikes in this price point often look like cheap garbage. Like you'll see the bike and you'll automatically realize and be able to easily tell that it's a very budget bike that looks like, you know, probably cost them $400 or $500 to make. But this feels like a very nice bike. Yeah, definitely real happy with this bike. For the price point, this is definitely one of the better bikes I've tried. I've tried some $1,000 bikes that I wouldn't pay $300-$400 for, because they just feel like garbage. But this is definitely a nice bike for the price. If you're looking for a budget bike, you don't want all the best features out there, but want a good and well-built bike that's going to last, this is definitely a good one to look at. I tried one of their bikes before, their Haoqi Eagle. That was a really good bike as well. So as far as build quality goes, so far this company is off to a very good start. Definitely looking forward to trying more of their bikes in the future. This bike does not have any suspension. It's just a hardtail front and back. But thanks to the front tires, is not bad for regular commuting. It's regular streets and stuff like this. It's a comfortable bike to ride. But once I took it off road and I was riding on the grass, that's where it definitely got a little more rough, and you could feel the bumps a little more jarred and traveling through the bike. And this seat is not the best seat either. It's a decent amount of wideness, but it's just more on the firm side, and especially when you're hitting some bumps, all the bumps just travel up to the seat and make it worse. So I think if you add a better seat on this bike, it'll definitely be a lot more comfortable. And if you want to take it even further, definitely put a seat post suspension on this bike. You could get a good one for about $100, the Sun Tour, which I have on one of my bikes, and that'll definitely bring a whole lot more comfort to this bike for only $100 more. So with any bike, if you don't have a suspension, even if you do have a just the front suspension, I definitely recommend a seat post suspension, because those definitely take out a whole lot of the bumps and make it a much more enjoyable ride. And it's so easy to put on. You just take off your old stem, swap the seat over, put it in, and you're good to go. So this is only a 10 amp hour bike, so you're not going to get the longest range on it. But if you're someone that isn't trying to go far, it shouldn't be that bad. I'm assuming you still should be able to get I don't know, maybe 20 miles, 25 miles if you're not going too fast. Oh yeah, those bumps definitely travel through when it's a rough street. But yeah, if you're not doing it too quick, you should be able to get a good 20-25 miles out of this bike. For an average, not too long ride, shouldn't be bad. Personally, I like to ride further, so I like to have about at least 14 amp hours. That's like my good sweet spot where I know I can go ride where I want to ride and make it home without having too much range anxiety. But I know there's some bikes out there that have 5 amp hours or 7 amp hours, so I guess in comparison it's not too bad. Like I said, personally I prefer a bigger battery, but it all just depends on how you plan to ride and where you plan to ride. And then when you have a bigger battery, you also get more weight. Inevitably comes with having a bigger battery, so I guess it's a trade-off and just comes down to your personal preference, so I can't really knock it for the battery size. I would say though, I'm not really a fan of this kind of battery, like this style of folding bikes. It's just a little clunky to get the battery out, because I like to keep my bikes outside in the garage. And with this kind of bike, every time you want to take the battery out, you got to do the whole process of unfolding the bike and take the battery out, fold the bike back together. It's just kind of a tedious process to do all the time. I like a bike where you can just turn the key and take off the bike really easily. So that's just what I think is a whole lot easier. But I know a lot of people have bikes like this and are happy with them. So again, it just comes down to what you care about most. Personally, I just don't like this style of battery. Yeah, so right now, this entire review, 90% of the time, I've been going about full throttle. Most of the time, going 20 miles per hour. And right now, I'm down to 2 bars. I did charge this bike up fully. It says right here, I did 6.8 miles. So we'll just round that up to 7. So 7 miles, 2 bars left. I guess full throttle, you're gonna get about maybe 13 miles out of this bike, which isn't too bad, because full throttle, that runs your bike down very quick. If I was pedaling with pedal assist, I'll definitely get a whole lot more out of this bike, but for this review, it's easier to just be on throttle and talk the entire time. But when I ride my bikes, I like to do a little half and half. It's a very comfortable seating position. It's a nice upright position. If you want to be a little more forward, you can always just lower it back down. There's a good amount of adjustability in the seat and the bar, so it should be good for a good, decent amount of range of different height people. So yeah, overall, for the price, for a budget bike under $1,000 or maybe at $1,000, like I said, I don't remember the exact price, but I'll put the link down in the description. This is definitely a very solid bike. So if you're looking for a well-built and well-performing bike and you don't want to spend too much, this one here is definitely a great option to look at. All right, well, that all wraps up this video. As usual, if you have any questions at all, feel free to drop me a comment and let me know. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.